right? So, and what is the byline? The byline simply is just an imaginary line that connects the middle of the goal with the ball, right? So here's where it comes tricky. That imaginary line is not stationary by any means. We know that, and obviously soccer, the ball is always going to be moving. Therefore, that line is going to be in constant movement. So here comes what footwork comes in place, right? So we always have to be shifting, moving our body, adjusting our positioning in order to be within that ball line, right? That's what we want to do. That's where we want to sit and stand, okay? Obviously, within the positioning aspect, we want to think about the depth of the goalkeeper. That is, how far out or how far in the goal I should be standing, and this is going to depend on just our ability to read the game and where that ball is. Okay, so we're going to look at some graphs. Well, before we go look at some graphs, I actually want to touch on what other factors affect this or like have a significant impact on your positioning as a goalkeeper. And I refer to these aspects as just the individual profile of the goalkeeper. And there is four pillars that every single goalkeeper coach refers to, and is your physical, your technical, your tactical, and your mental. Okay, physical, are we quick? Are we fast enough? Are we powerful? Are we strong? Are we tall? Are we a 6'5" goalkeeper? Are we a 5'11" goalkeeper? Are we a 5'7", right? Those are things that play a role in our positioning. That's gonna determine how far can I be of the goal, right? Obviously, our technical, are we quick enough with our feet to move side to side? Are we ready to be set before the shot is being taken? Are we using the right handling technique to deal with the shot? Tactical, and I think this is probably the most important one, is our ability to read the game, right? Our ability to read the game and make decisions from the input we're taking from the game, right? Is the player ready to take a shot? Is the player trying to put the ball through, and it's a 50-50 balls? How many defenders I have in front of me? Should I be coming out for the ball? What direction is the ball traveling? Is it going towards the goal? Is it going away from goal? All these questions play a huge role in where you should be standing or position yourself within the goal. And then lastly is just the mental focus. Are you really dialed into a game? Are you paying attention what your team is doing, what the other team is doing? Are we courageous enough to take a risk and really come out and get that ball? Are we able to manage the emotion, right? Maybe you commit a bad mistake 5 minutes before the game. Are you able to just overcome that and just go back into that state of mind in where you're completely dialing in the game? And lastly, our communication, right? Are we in constant communication with our backline, with our teammates? So we're gonna look at some graphs of what that ball line looks like. So we talk about that ball line moving, right? And like the relationship between the goal and the soccer ball. And this is just simply different angles that the ball could be, but pretty much this ball line could be everywhere in the field, right? Depending on where the ball is actually. And that's gonna change the way we stand, we move, and obviously we read the game. But the big question of this is, why do we want to stand on the ball line? Like, what's the purpose of being on the ball line? The purpose is just simply we want to cover the angle of the first post and the far post. Simply by being on that line, as you can see, we're able to cover each post in the most efficient way, right? So there's two examples here where the ball is a little bit outside the box in a specific angle and where the goalkeeper should be. Now, the other one is the ball is a little bit inside the box, similar angle where the goalkeeper should be in relation to a ball, right? So that's when it comes in different, situations within the game that we just have to make that decision. Are we going to come out, get that ball, make ourselves big, trying to block, just make that angle for the shooter to take smaller so we can have a better success rate to make that save? This is another great view of like depth of the goalkeeper. And despite this is a good like graphic or visual to have, I want us to be very careful with this, because when we talk about the profile of the goalkeeper and how those little different 4 pillars will have an effect on your positioning is mostly the depth of your of where you're standing, right? Hopefully, if the ball is far away on the yellow zone, we want to be where that with that goalkeeper, the yellow goalkeeper is. Two reasons because for that, it shows that we're engaged in the game. We're close to our team. Communication is going to be a lot easier with your back line, which is probably going to be in the middle of the field, and you're going to be closer to be able to communicate what's happening, just in case there is a transition situation that your team has to deal with. And if you have to come off your box to just clear the ball, you're closer, you're able to do it. Obviously, as the ball travels closer to you and goes into a purple, you look that the goalkeeper starts to back off, right? And then the blue a little closer to a line, and then if into the red zone, you should be almost on your line. And then here's what it comes that the disclaimer of this. If you know that the ball is here and the purple, and whoever has the ball has the intentions to play a long ball, and you know that you're not a very fast goalkeeper, and you know that you're not going to be able to get it a 50-50 ball, should I be coming out further out, or should I be a little bit more conservative and play my line and cover my goal, right? Another, situation is, how many players do I have in front of me? Is it just a 1v1 with the forward, or is it just I have my fullback and my center back in front of me? Do I really need to come out for that ball? And that comes with the 4-pillar, or tactical, which means the ability that we have to read the game. That being said, we cannot cover how are we going to be locating ourselves within the field, and just different markers that we can say, okay, the ball's on the other side, I can be a little bit further out. If the ball traverses right, I should be moving a little bit right just to get on that ball line, right? As the ball comes closer to us, we should be starting to drop a little bit, make sure we're covering the goal, getting back to our goal line. Now we'll cover a little bit of it, positioning. What about handling and footwork? What does it has to do with all these that we're talking about? So handling and footwork, I want to start just to defining those two terms so we're clear what those terms mean, right? Handling is just simply the ability of the goalkeeper to deal with the ball by using their hands, okay? And we talk about the contour catch, or the famous triangle catch, or W catch that we use to just, contour the ball from the back and just collect it. We talk about the basket catch, and that can change based on what type of ball are we dealing with. Is the ball bouncing? Is the ball middle air, right? Like hip height? Is the ball on the ground? And all these types of catch will change not only game by game, but also, hey, weather. Is it raining? Is there wind? Is the grass wet? What type of field conditions are we playing? Are we in turf? Are we in grass? Is the grass bumpy, right? All those things will have an effect on the ball, therefore will have an effect on how you catch. That's why just understanding and making that decision and make sure you're ready to deal with the ball is very, very important, so you can be successful either at catching in any of these techniques. Obviously, the overhead catch is dealing with crosses, whipping from the sides or front. And then just the deflection block. I think this one is very easy in terms of I just have to put my body in front of it. But the trick is, am I deflecting the shot on a zone in where my teammates can recover that ball and it's away from the goal? Sometimes we going back to the quote from Tony DeChico, we just want to make that safe and make that block look pretty. But that rebound goes nowhere, or in a place that we don't want the ball to be, and then end up being in the goal. So we try to slow down, right? Make sure we're using the right handling technique. And if we're gonna deflect the ball or parry the ball away, make sure we're doing it in a way that is gonna be away from players coming in trying to tap the second ball, and then obviously giving the time to our defenders to readjust and recover from that. Now, what is footwork? Footwork simply means there's 2 minutes to this. So one is the ability to use your feet to cover area on the pitch, right? So how can we move from point A to point B? And then the distance of it will have a change on what type of footwork technique are we going to use. Are we going to shuffle? Are we going to oversteer shuffle? Are we going to sprint, right? So just different techniques of footwork will depend on the distance that we need to cover. And second of all, footwork also means the ability to distribute the ball. Whether are you passing because your teammate passed the ball back to relieve pressure, whether are we goal kicking, whether are we punting. All those things are footwork. So don't just get lost onto, oh, we're gonna work on footwork. That is just moving our feet quickly through a ladder, right? Yeah, that's a way that we can stimulate, the footwork. But if we can go 2 steps in through a ladder really fast, but we cannot translate that into covering 3 yards off the pipe of one pipe to cover the other pipe, then it's not going to be very, very effective. Okay, so now that we kind of know what footwork and handling is, and I'm going to just open a little bit here and slow down and see if somebody has any questions that have come out of just the first 5 slides. Nate, you can ask questions as well, or any of the other coaches that are joining here. I'm more than happy to hear from you guys. Nope. All righty, so we're just gonna keep moving. So handling and footwork, key aspects that we want to be thinking as we in a game. So obviously the movement of the ball, I think that's the number one aspect that we always have to be paying attention on. Where is the ball and how is it moving? Is it moving towards the goal? Is it moving away from the goal? Is it moving side to side, right? Or decision making. What type of handling technique am I going to use? Am I going to use a contour catch because the ball is traveling on my face? Is the ball bouncing and I have to use the basket? Or do I have to dive and either collect the ball or deflect the ball? How much ground can I cover, right, with my feet? Am I quick enough to cover the full width of the goal, or do I just have to make sure on an even side so I can cover one pipe on one pipe more easier? And then do I have to use my feet to support my defense, right? So we talk about ball being on the other side, big long ball, the defense have to run back, and then you're closer to a ball, but probably outside the box, and then you have to use your feet in order to help the defense, right? And I think most of us have been in that situation, and I've seen most of us coming out and second guessing, and then not getting to a ball of time. And I think that decision making plays a huge factor. Obviously, your set shape. What is the position of our feet? Is our feet too spread apart? Are we putting the pressure or weight on our heels or on the ball of our feet? Right? Is our torso completely standing? There's no dynamic on it, or is our torso a little lower, trying to bend the knees, trying to get into our center of gravity? Our hands. Are our hands too far away? Are our hands too high up? What distance our hands should be? What is our head? Are we looking down on the ground? Are we looking up? Different things from just the way you're positioning yourself that has an effect on how you deal with the shot or the after set shape situation. The other things like reach for the ball. Am I a 6'5" goalkeeper that has a very good reach in the air, right? However, I've seen 6'5" goalkeepers that don't really have good decision making and they struggle to reach the ball in the air. Is our hand placement appropriate to keep the ball? And the movement of our feet, are we sharp and quick with our feet when we move? So that being said, and this one I really, really want you to ask questions. I want to just transition in just the training session breakdowns. This training session is the women's national team, and you probably recognize that girl that is right now on the screen is Hope Solo. So this is quite a bit old. I think this is 2014. The coach that is leading this training session, his name is Paul Rogers. He's currently the first team coach for the Houston Dynamo, and he's an outstanding coach. I think he's been coaching goalkeepers for over 20 years, huge deal of experience, but he does a lot of things during this training session to progress their footwork on the movement side, on the distribution side, and then eventually working on the positioning within the goal, and obviously the type of handling each goalkeeper does. So it takes about, this one is going to be like 4 minutes. We're going to walk. I'm going to stop and ask questions, and I want people to start answering. Okay.
As of now, everybody is muted, so if you have a question, you got to put in that little chat button down below.
Okay, so I want to take a quick break here and just ask the question, what is the common theme we're looking at this activation exercise? This is clearly the beginning of the session. The goalkeepers are just getting into a feel. What are they doing? And I want some of the goalkeepers that work with me before that, you know, somebody brave, that just, what do you think things that they're looking to do at this point? Nobody? We gotta be a little bit courageous to be a goalkeeper. So speaking our mind sometimes is one of them. But simply what we're looking here is just an activation drill, footwork, right, side to side. Do you notice that every single one of the goalkeepers in a perfect set shape form? The weight of their bodies and the ball of their feet. That was ready to deal with the ball, what it is with their feet on the ground, what is the ball that comes in the air. And it's just a great way to set the tone for the training session, right? So we're gonna keep watching.
A couple people have chatted, Chris, and said
Okay.
that warming
Perfect.
up.
Do you wanna? Yeah, let's do it.
So far, 2 people have said warming up, getting touches on the ball is what they've been saying.
Yeah, but like, I love that. That's like easy to see, but like, what are the things that, yeah, we're seeing that taking touches on the ball, but like, let's be a little bit more specific, goalkeepers, because I mean, if I look at the session, I can clearly see they're warming up and they're taking touches with the ball, but like, how is their focus? Are they really completely tuning in where the ball is? Are they completely tuning on the intensity of their footwork, right? How is the intensity of the movements? Are they just sloppy? How is their footwork being? Is it quick? Is it fast? Is it slow? Those are things that, as a goalkeeper, when I was playing and I was like taking ownership of my own training sessions, those are things that I'm looking for when I look at these videos, right? Is my footwork sharp, right? Am I always on the ball of my feet? If we go back a little bit, let's look at the width of the steps each one of these goalkeepers take. Let's look at, I think this is Joy Lloyd and Nathan, correct me if I'm wrong. Look at the steps, really short, really sharp. They're in tune with the training session. And I think that's probably the biggest thing that we can take off this activation drill. When you come in and you start your warm-up, this is what a warm-up should be, right? Sharp, connected, just already tuning to what like the training session is going to be at, and we just set up the tone with whatever is coming up next. Okay, now we're gonna go back to where we were.
I got a couple people.
Yeah.
So focusing on their touch and every step towards the ball, focus on the grip, the handle, and then quick, agile footwork is what I've got.
Definitely. So I'm going to ask a question here. I'm going to let you watch this quick, like a couple seconds of maybe hop solo on one of these, getting those reps on those volleys. But I want you to look at this and think, why are they holding the ball? And what is their movement starting? And where is the movement finishing? Okay. So look at a couple reps and I want those answers. Okay, so I just want to give you a little time so people can write on the chat, and hopefully Nate, you can sharing with them, like why are they moving, where are they moving to, and why is the reason they have a ball in their hands.
You're confused. I think they need a little more information.
Okay, definitely.
So I've gotten a couple people. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. You can.
Getting their bodies behind the ball, short, quick footwork, focusing on clean handling.
Yeah, I mean, we're going in the right direction. I like it.
So they were about to throw the ball out, but then they came back to them. They are blocking the angles, and the ball is in their hands to keep their hands quick. They had a ball in their hands because it is good for having a quick reactions. Shuffling the ball line, moving to the ball line. The ball is in the hands to get proper hand shape.
Yeah.
Balls in the hands, quick hands when switching out the ball. They're adjusting their body onto the ball line. They drop the ball, then catch other ball to work on reaction time and handling. Love it.
So our mindset is right where it has to be. Like exactly it is. The keepers are starting in a position where they are not in the ball line. They have to do is they have to adjust their body to get behind or on that ball line, right? And be able to deal with the shot that is being tossed at, okay? So now, the reason why they hold the ball in their hands, and this is gonna go back to Eric Steele, the Manchester United coach that I talked at the beginning of the session. And I talked to him, I comment Nate, I was on a webinar with him like a couple of days ago. And he said that having their hands a little closer to each other, right, inside their body, like they're doing holding the ball, it's a little easier to have them already close to reach for the ball and make a clean save. So what Paul Rogers is doing here by having them holding the ball is not just reaction to toss the ball and catch the ball, but it's just simply kind of like teaching them, hey, if your hands are closer together, once you're set, you're going to be able to easily catch and get a hold of the ball. So that's the reason why, and obviously, it's a little bit, I didn't expect you to know it right away, but I wanted like to get some answers from you guys. But if you look at them, every single one of them has catch that ball that Paul has been kicking at them every single time, right? So it's just constantly teaching them what the handling should look like. And then they follow up with with their body on the ball.
Chris, could you add to this element? After they catch the ball, they drop the ball, it's in their hands. They catch the other one, and then they go get the ball that they dropped. So it's almost like a rebound type situation.
Yeah, pretty much. So I think like the goal of this is, again, we're working on that positioning, right? We're working to get our adjustment of our body to get on that ball line, right? A lot of keepers, it's easier to reach for the ball. But if you notice, every time they catch the ball, they adjust their body to keep their body in front of the ball. Main reason for that, right? If the ball is in front of the ball, it's not going to go through you, right? You always want to make sure your body's behind just in case of an emergency. But it's that, like, can we deal with that rebound? If we don't catch that first ball, that Paul is being tossed, right? The second ball they toss, they're going to go get it. So you're actively teaching them, hey, you need to be able to deal with that second ball if you're not able to get a hold of the first one. So yeah, that's a great observation, Nate. So I'm going to stop it here for a second, just because this one comes into like a little bit harder topic to cover, which is kind of like dealing with crosses or just like that ball that, you know, we all our coaches want to play or find during soccer is, if you notice, they start just closer to a goal, just because they need to close that ball line, right? As the ball moves, right, they move towards the center, they need to adjust, but they know that the forward, which is the coach at this time, is going to come in, so they need to step up to cover and make themselves big. Now, if you notice, the footwork is really, really crucial here, because there is no big steps. Every single step is a slow one control. So that's another good thing that we can see here. I want to move into the next one, so we don't take too much time on this one. And I just want to touch on briefly on the next slide that we have here, and hopefully we can get through the video we have. So this one, again, this is another coach that coaches for Houston Dynamo. And I just want you to listen the way he coaches how to catch the ball and the importance in keeping your elbows in as you catch the ball. So let me just go a little bit far ahead here, and he's going to be able to talk to you through it about it.
We really can't hear.
They cannot hear?
Nope.
Okay. So what he's talking about here is, like, sometimes we bring our elbows out, right? Which kind of creates like a pocket. So once we receive the ball, right, the ball is going to be too close to our body. Therefore, we tend to just drop the ball in front of us, right? So what we're looking for in here is that make sure we're attacking the ball. Every time the ball is coming to us, we need to make sure we're reaching for that ball and being able to collect that ball. Okay. So that's like pretty much like the biggest message here. I hope like you were guys able to like watch that coaching. So if you guys cannot hear it, I just rather like move on into like the game analysis because it just loses the little meaning behind it. But we're going to touch on like the elbows and the positioning a little bit later in the video that we got next. Oh crap, this is not the video I needed. We're going to touch on this one first. Okay. So the Oregon Ducks versus the USC Trojans. So I'm going to jump in fairly quickly because disclaimer, there's this, neither of these two teams can actually shoot. But there is some interesting things in terms of the goalkeeper situation that we can look at in terms of positioning, how they're used to the body to get in the ball line. So we're going to jump a little bit here, right here. Okay. So goalkeeper, middle of the goal, in line with the ball line, right? Head is facing forward, you know, starting to get ready to deal with that ball, right? As the ball travels, right? As the ball travels towards the middle, keeper adjusts to stay on that ball line. Weight is on the ball of their feet, right? The feet, the footwork, even though it's not the quickest, is short, right? We're not taking big steps to get to adjust, right? And then obviously shooting isn't very great, but like the positioning of it is what we're looking for here. So we're gonna jump ahead into the next time right here. So we're gonna go. So ball in the corner, right? It's hard to see here now. The ball is being crossed. Now we are already looking at the goalkeeper here, even though the ball is a little blurry, right? She's following, right? She started the near post. Now she has to travel across the goal, but she probably has to get set because look at the intention of the forward. Is the forward ready to take one touch finishing? So she needs to make sure she's ready to make that save. So she needs to be able to read those cues within the game to be able to make the save. And she obviously is set, is able to come up big to make that save, right? So again, we touch on, is the goalkeeper following the ball line? Is the goalkeeper doing a good job using their footwork to get set, right? Is the goalkeeper set? And lastly, does the goalkeeper deal with the ball with the right handling technique? I think this video right here, this little clip, cover those four things that we've been talking through a presentation today. Let's go right here. Number 4. Okay. So this one is, I really wanted to touch this one because I think we all fall in this easy mistake. So following. Now, how far away was she from the ball, right? The forward takes the touch. She barely moves. Obviously, goalkeeper, the shot wasn't great, but if the shot was going to be really close to her pipe, she wouldn't have a chance to be able to deal with that ball because she took too long to adjust her positioning in order where the ball line was, right? So very, very important that you always are in tune where the ball is, especially as they come into that red zone where you really need to be able to deal with a shot coming in close.
Chris, can you go back? Use that same clip, just go back just a little bit right before the girl's about to shoot.
Yeah.
And so players, look at the goalkeeper. You can run for a little bit. So we look at the goalkeeper. She's fine here, right? She's communicating. And then as we keep moving forward, right, now she realizes, okay, and freeze right there. Good. So she's actually in a pretty good spot there, in my opinion. I could be wrong, Chris, but she did a good job. She got all her defenders to come back. She realized, oh, here comes a shot. She knows the girl's probably going to shoot. And like Chris said, watch what happens with her next step. All right. So as you run it forward, her next step goes forward, right? Rather than Chris has been talking about footwork, hasn't he, the entire time? Rather than moving with the ball, she kind of stops and takes that step forward. And as Chris said, I mean, if that ball dips a little bit, she's in trouble.
Exactly. Right. And just to add on that, look at the step she's taking, right? Look at where she's in the goal. The ball is going above the pipe right here in the upper 90, and she's already taking the dive step from like behind the middle of the goal, right? So I think like what Nate said is right. She's communicated. She had her defense come back to get numbers in front of the ball, right? She follows the ball out of the first touch, but the moment that she needs to be able to get that quick short step and then get the step to obviously dive, she kind of slows on that. And then obviously, like I said at the beginning of the clip, these two teams had a hard time shooting through this game. Let's go a little bit. I think there is another good situation coming up here. So we're going to go ahead. So ball on the side. So, right, ball is on top of the box. She makes a decision. One, she's not going out. The reason she's not going out, why? She has numbers in front of her. And the ball is not going directly towards the goal. And I don't think she has a good chance to come up, get that ball. So what's the best chance for her, right? The best chance for her in order to cover the goal is just to stay on her line, adjust her body to get in behind that ball line, and then hopefully deal with that shot that is coming in. Obviously, I thought she did a good job covering that first post to get across from the goal. So those are like the situations that we can on decision making that we need to be aware of. Now, I really want to stop here, and Nate, you can join in on the discussion here because I know you will love to. What do we think this goalkeeper should do on that situation? Is the goalkeeper going to be successful in this situation? Does she has to come out? Personally, I think that she goes down too early, and I think that she would have a better chance if she would hold it a little bit more and cover the goal, because now she needs to run about 18 yards to make it back to a goal, and the forward is already turning their hips towards the goal. She can slap a ball back, and then we're in trouble. If she would be a little bit more patient and let that defender recover, the ball is going away from goal, right? The ball is not going towards her box. The ball is not going towards the goal. The ball is moving away towards the corner flag. Is that angle good for that forward? Look how far the forward got the ball from, almost to the end line, and she's away from the goal. If she would have just hold her ball, she'd probably be already covering her first pipe. She would be ready to deal with that cross ball just as she did in the previous ball, right? And then obviously she's lucky that nobody was there to deal with that second shot. We're gonna go a little bit ahead here, cover 2 more clips. Okay. So this is the one I really wanted to cover. So we talk about making that safe, right? Or dealing with that safe. And I think this one, she actually did a very good job getting set, covering the ball. But I think her handling technique wasn't the best, right? We talk about those deflection saves. Are we actually deflecting the ball to make it harder for the other team to tap in the second ball? And she makes the touch, but she doesn't deflect the ball enough to be able to just clear the ball away or give it a chance to your team to readjust and be able to clear the ball. Therefore, it goes back into a goal. So maybe she could have just be taking an extra shuffle and able to just catch the ball, dive and collect the ball, right? I think sometimes we just want to just parrot everything out in where we can just maybe slow down, read the situation, what's going to happen, and then maybe take a better decision on what type of handling are we going to use.
Can you go back and show everybody again? No,
Yeah.
the same video, sorry.
Yeah.
The same clip,
yeah.
just so that everybody can see what you were talking about.
Yeah. So here, she's in the position where she should be at, right? She's facing the ball. She's in a set stance, right? Now, again, I think happens the same thing. Her step as she's going to dive, it's a little too short. Her footwork could have gotten better. And look how far off the ball she is. If she would have like maybe take that extra set footwork to go close the ball, I think she would have been able to even use both hands and get a hold of the ball. But she makes the touch, but the rebound is just a touch. It's not even a deflection, right? The ball is still in the 5-yard box. It's still in the danger zone. And unfortunately for her, she was on the ground with no reaction time to be able to deal with the second shot. So that's like one of the things that, you know, positioning, right footwork, good handling could avoid situations like this. And then I'm going to go through the last video, and it's a little bit of the a younger video, but I really like what this goalkeeper does through the first 4 minutes of the game. Or a couple minutes of the game about the depth and how he moves with his team. So let's watch it. So you can see the goalkeeper is reading what's happening with the game. The ball comes back. Goalkeeper is always looking, stepping up. Now the ball is coming towards them. Right? The ball starts to travel back. Look at what the goalkeeper does. Even though he's a U9 goalkeeper, right? He's already looking, where is this goal at? What is his goal? What is his job, right? His job is covering that goal. He knows that the other team is coming at him. He starts to adjust his body positioning. Now he's making himself big, getting ready to deal with that situation, read what the opposite team is doing, and then he's able to make that decision to go get that ball because he noticed that the forward just didn't took the chance to run into a ball, right? So where is the goalkeeper at, right? The ball's in the corner. He's making sure his first post is taken care of, but at the same time, he's ready just in case they lose the ball here. They need to go deal, he needs to go deal with that ball. Right? Now, this is the last thing I'm going to cover here just because we're running a little bit out of time. Did the goalkeeper came too early? What did the goalkeeper did? He noticed he had help in front of him. So there was no reason for him to actually go out, step out of his line to get the ball. Instead, he hold and wait what his teammates were going to do. His teammates help, and he was able to deal with the second ball and make a great save, right? So again, back in that decision making, do we have people in front of us that can help us? Why do we need to step out of our line to go get that ball, right? Do we have people that are not in front of us? Then maybe we need to come out and step on our line. And then lastly, out of this video, hey, my team is traveling out. I should probably be traveling with them. But if we lose the ball on the other side, we need to make sure we start to recover back to cover our goal. Okay? So That's in terms of game analysis and obviously the little training session breakdown. That's all I have in terms of for videos. The other video I had is not the right one that I copy here in the presentation. And then lastly, these are some like resources that we want to make sure we share with you guys. Is the link to a goalkeeper videos for the club. That is about 10 to 11 drills that you can do at home with a soccer ball and by yourself. You don't need nothing else. And then I wanted to add another extra 3 videos that the coaching director of the Philadelphia Union does. And it's simply just by yourself to work on your positioning, your handling, and your footwork. I'm gonna make sure I share those with
you want to pop that one up? The Phil,
yeah,
just
definitely.
real quick.
Yeah, real quick. I absolutely, and this is the thing. So he has 3 videos here, and I want to walk you through this quick. And obviously, handling and coordination exercises at home. Simple, just one ball. Really, really good handling, eye-hand coordination that you can do at home. He has 3 minutes of even diving techniques, contour catches, helping you get yourself up. Then he explains them at the beginning so you know what to do. And these ones, he literally uses pieces of tape to do a footwork. Just a little square. I'm gonna show a little, and then he explains how to walk it, do the little shuffles, and you don't need that much space to do these exercises, right? Now, if you wanna get really creative, he has a cognitive training where he uses his cell phone and an app. I'm gonna get a hold of the app and share it with you guys, and just color code things that you can just look and react the color that is on the screen, just to help your cognitive stay involved. I think these are great resources that you can get a hold of and just keep training during this period. If you have any questions about them, please just ask me. I think that I want to make sure I'm reachable to all of you guys. And actually, I want you to be careful with what content you see out there, especially on the goalkeeper side. There is a lot of things that look flashy, that look crazy, and they might look good on video, but they're actually not thought through in order to just help you improve as a goalkeeper, right? Nate, do you have any questions? Anybody have any questions? I know we're running a little bit over.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna unmute everybody. So everybody be prepared when I unmute you. And then I don't have any questions. Chris, thanks for doing this. I know we'll do one next week and probably the week after too. Yeah. But if anybody wants to stay on, again, I'm gonna unmute you. You can stay on and ask questions if you want to right now too. Sorry, here it comes. There we go.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yes, I'll be sending those links. I'll put them on, I'll send an email through a goalkeeper team snap, and I'll share all those links with you guys so you guys are able to access to them. That's an easy thing to do for me.
This will also be on the website too, Sanctuary's website.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yeah, definitely.
What like exercises like without the ball would you recommend? Because like I could go on like a 5 like better than I could do like goalkeeper specific.
Exercises without the ball, you said?
Yeah.
I think like without the ball, like I think like all the footwork exercises, I think the Phil Witham video that talks about footwork and just those little tapes are a great video. I actually did it once by myself. I was a little bored and Oliver was taking a nap, so I did them, and it's very challenging, and he does a really good job explaining how many times to do it, for how long to do it, and it's just a great way just to stay in shape and just use different ways that you will move within the game, right? Dropping the step, little shuffle step to a side, and just kind of like really thought to like the size of the area that we have to cover when we're in the game. So I'm more than happy to help you personally, Avi, and help you just figure out which ones are best and which ones are not working for you. But I think that video from Phil Witham is a really good resource to do footwork without a ball. That's what I wanted to include that video, because he didn't really use a ball for that specific video. Any other questions, guys?